Hi everybody, my name is Angela Cleary. I'm a life coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So today I want to talk about healing the heart or heart chakra healing. So when we get any physical symptoms, it can be related to our energy centres being out of balance. But today I want to concentrate on the heart chakra because that's where I've been out of balance most lately. Say a few weeks ago, I pulled a muscle in my right shoulder blade, and I've pulled this muscle before, sleeping wrong, whatever. So I thought, no, but I was like, I'll be gone in 2 or 3 days, I'll have a little bit of rest, I'll be grand. But it lasted for over a week. And when I was getting towards a week, I said, this isn't right, do you know what I mean? It has, it should be getting better by now. So I realised, it's internal. So I Googled just to be sure, and I'd forgotten that heart chakra especially, when we have heart chakra blockages, we can have pains in our chest or around our shoulders. But I'd forgotten that we can actually have pains in our lower or our upper back as well. So any upper back pain, chest pain, or shoulder pain, or anything kind of from here upwards can be related to the heart chakra. And I've remembered, after nearly a week of pain and feeling sorry for myself, I was like, this is internal. This is my higher heart chakra. I have obviously blockages around my heart that I need to heal. So I started concentrating on facing some of my inner stuff to heal that. And after a couple of days of doing inner work, my shoulder blade released its pain. Now, I've obviously been avoiding some more pain lately. No matter how conscious I think my healing is, I forget that I avoid facing it as well. We all do. We all think that we've healed it a little bit and we're okay now and we can move on. But what we actually do is we end up burying it. And today I was doing my meditation. I do a prosperity meditation every morning. And I wasn't moving. I was sitting here like this. And I was doing just breathing exercises. I just had my hands like this, doing breathing exercises. My body was completely still. And during the meditation, it was guided. He said, set your intention. And normally I just set an intention for abundance and love. But this morning I went specific and I said, I want to break the walls down around my heart. And as I said, I wasn't even moving, but as I said that, I could feel my left shoulder blade muscle. It was like it snapped. No movement. How do you pull a muscle if you're not moving? Do you know what I mean? And straight away I was like, okay, obviously I have blockages here. I have blockages in my heart because I literally just set the intention of unblocking or breaking down the walls around my heart. And I'd forgotten. I have an avoidance around healing as well. We all kind of do. We're a nation of bottlers. We bottle everything up. We think that we've healed it. We think that we've faced it and that it's gone away or whatever. But I've been consciously very, very intensely healing for the last year. Through walking away from family members, I've been measuring, I suppose, how I've been getting better and how quick I've been getting better. But what I forgot, and I remember this last year, but I forgot again, is when we're healing, so when we go through a trauma, whether it's grief or breakups or setting boundaries with family members, when we go through any kind of healing, we tend to go through a process. And because I was aware of all my healing last year, I've mapped out this process. But once again, I forgot, and that's why I still have blockages. But say, for example, when we first go through a trauma, we need to nurture ourselves. So we go into a self-care mode. We go into kind of a numbing kind of a mode. And we distract ourselves. So, for example, last year, what I did, I couldn't face what I was going through straight away. But I had to nurture myself through the pain. The raw pain of it. So what I did was I watched comedies because I don't drink or take drugs anymore. And I remember years ago, if a family member died or if you had a breakup, you would reach for the cigarettes, you'd reach for the drugs, or you'd reach for the drink as a numbing to distract yourself from the pain. So last year, my way of doing this was to watch comedies and just to nurture myself, take care of it one day at a time, do some meditation and healing, and just consciously just get myself better. And what I realized then, because throughout the last year, the healing that I was avoiding at the start, I hate saying avoiding because we're not avoiding it. We're literally getting ourselves stronger so we can face it again to heal it. But we forget that. When we're not consciously healing, we forget. And sometimes when we go through that numbing stage, we leave it. We don't ever face it again. and we bury that trauma deep within us, and we never, ever, ever resurface it to heal. And anytime it comes back up, we're like, no, I heal that. Oh, I heal that the first few weeks. I'm fine. I don't need to look at that again. But no, it comes back up for a reason. And I remember throughout the year, last year, as this came back up for healing for me, I was like, why is this coming up again? Does this mean it's going to happen again? Does it mean it's going to be fresh? But what I realized, it comes up every so often. So like, we do the numbing, we do the distraction. But the next phase, when you're strong enough, it will resurface for you to face it and heal it. But it will only expect you to heal a little bit of it, because you're only a little bit stronger than you were. So therefore, you will heal a certain amount of that and release it. And then you will get stronger and stronger again. And then it will resurface once again for you to face it when you're stronger, and it'll be more the next time, but you're stronger and more capable. Now, it's almost a year into my journey of healing through this trauma, and it came up again and again lately. And I kept saying, no, I'm being sent a psychic attack, send it out to the universe, turned into light, it's nothing to do with me, I'm not upset, I heal this. But once again, today, it came up for me again, and I got raw, and I got upset, and I was like, no, it's not mine, I heal this. But the pain in my shoulder that happened through the meditation, when I asked for my walls to be broken down, was proof that I wasn't facing stuff. And that's the thing. Over the last year, I've gone through a huge heart awakening, but I still have loads of stuff resurfacing. And like, I've gone through many breakthroughs over the last few weeks, that I still have trust issues, that I still have blocks around my heart, that I find very hard to receive love, and that I'm blocking out that. The energy that I'm sending out is that I'm afraid to receive love because I have walls around my heart. And I know this. I've realized this lately, that I have blocks around my heart. But I was still in avoidance of facing the reasons behind these blocks. And that's the thing. When we go through these stages of healing, we think we've healed it all. But because I suppose we're going through stages of healing. So in the first stage, you're only a little bit stronger than you were at the very start when you were numbing. And so you could only heal a little bit. And if you're in avoidance, and we all do this, I keep doing this myself, even though I'm a conscious healer, I still keep doing this. And I've only realized this again over the last year, that we bury it. We bury it because we're afraid of the pain. We're afraid to feel the rawness of it. We're afraid to feel that hurt, and we think if we heal a little bit of it, and we're like, oh yeah, I've healed that now, it's gone, leave it. But we're actually, as I said, only healing sections. We're only healing enough, a little bit at a time, as we're able and as we're strong enough to heal it. But then we tend to bury it again, and that's what happens with when we put walls up around our heart. Then is because we're actually burying the pain, because we're going through stages of healing. And then the next stage, it comes up again, and we kind of avoid it because we know we went through so much pain the last time. We bury it again, and we bury it again. And like, do you know, I was even saying to myself this morning, why is this resurfacing again? You know, it's a year, I should be healed. But because the last few times it has come up, I've dismissed it. And I said, nope, I've done that, thank you, bye-bye. And that's what I realized today as well when I was thinking about this. Like, my codependency wound and my abandonment wound has been triggered on and off over the last year. And like, you could safely say, I could say, I healed my abandonment wound. I healed my codependency wound. I don't need to heal that again. But it only resurfaces because there's something in your internal or external world that triggers that. And what I realized today is that my biggest wound is my abandonment and my codependency wound. That stems from my toddler years, but it was re-triggered in my younger childhood years. It was also re-triggered many times throughout my teenage years. It was also re-triggered many times throughout adulthood through relationships and family issues. It was also triggered on and off over the last few years. So, you know, we might say, I've healed my abandonment wound, but you might have healed it from the time you were a toddler. But because it has resurfaced again and again from more and more traumas, you actually have so many layers of your abandonment wound or your core wound to heal. So you can't actually say, I've healed that part of myself, because it's been re-triggered over and over again. You might have healed this section of it, this, your youngest childhood years, your youngest childhood trauma, your youngest childhood abandonment wounds. But your abandonment wound was re-triggered over and over again throughout your lifetime. So you have certain stages, and that's why inner teen healing is so important as well. And because when I realized, I didn't even realize about inner teen healing till last year, and I was like, oh my God, we hold such shame in our teenage years. But we like, because of our core abandonment wound or our codependency wound, we probably went through a lot of heartbreak as a teenager because of our need for love. And then later on in life, when we had other relationships, we needed love again, and our abandonment wound would have been re-triggered again. And the same with when I became codependent on my dad again, and I had to release that triggered my abandonment wound again. Walking away from friends, family members, this triggers your abandonment wound. It triggers that core deep trauma. So you're re-healing something over and over again. We go through layers, we go through stages of healing. So, I only started my abandonment healing and my inner child healing in my early 30s. So in the last 6 years. So I've healed a lot around that, but it's resurfaced again and again and again and again and again. And not only are you're healing as it resurfaces for those reasons it's resurfacing, but you're also healing the different stages of your whole life. You're healing every single part of it. And because we think we faced it the first time, we're like, grand, done, happy days, over now, don't need to go near that again. But in actual fact, because you only healed the first layer, you're actually burying those other layers. And that's why I have blocks around my heart. And I'm only starting to realize that today even. And over the last few weeks, I realized the receptivity the lack of receptivity, my lack of trust in people. I realized that was I suppose the why, or that was the problem. But I need to find the root cause to actually heal it. And because my heart chakra popped this morning by pulling a muscle, it proved to me, I was like, you can't just wish for your walls to break down. You can't just wish for your heart to be more open. You have to realize why you put the walls there in the first place. You have to heal the reason you put the walls there in the first place. And this last year, I've been healing consciously for the last 6 years, but this last year I've been doing it with more awareness. And I have been watching the stages, and I realized this in the middle of last year that, there is layers, but I started to bury again because of the pain I went through with the heart awakening last year, and the pain of walking away from friends, family members, all of it resurfacing. I buried again. And I realized that I was burying on top of layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And it's only really today that I copped that I don't just have an inner child abandonment wound from my very early first couple of years, my toddler years, I've found out as well that we can actually remember trauma from within the womb before we're even born. So I've read lately that people can actually remember memories of fear and stuff from within the womb. So before birth, during birth, they can remember trauma. So there's all that trauma and abandonment wound from even before we were born, while we were in our mother's womb, from feeling her energy. And my mother would have had abandonment or inner child wounds as well. And not only was I was consciously healing that stage of my life, say the first few years. So I wasn't even thinking about before I was born, but I was healing the first few years. And then I delved into inner teen healing last year. But when I consciously thought about it today, all through my life, all stages of my life, I had more more codependent and addiction or abandonment wounds to heal. New ones came up from new experiences. So it's layered. Like, the amount of trauma I went through is actually layered, but the amount of healing now I have to go through is layered as well. And as I said, I've done the early years and I've done the teenage years, but I need to do in the middle as well. And I need to do the narcissistic relationship abandonment wound as well. Do you know, and I have healed around these things, but my abandonment wound keeps coming up every time I go through an experience of trauma with a family, like walking away from family or walking away from friends or anything like that. It will be re-triggered again and again. So we need to face these things again and again. And like, that's the thing, like, you know, we can't, like, when we continue to bottle things down, when we continue to bury, when we say, oh, I healed that, I'm fine. What you're doing is you're healing, as I said, at the very start of it, and then you're burying the rest. And like, you're only after healing the very, 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 very tiniest bit of it, because as I said, with the first layer, you're only able to heal what you have the strength to heal at that time. So it's going to be very small. Now the next layer, you're going to heal more, but you're going to be strong enough to face more. Then the next layer is going to be more again, but you're going to be strong enough to face that. But if we keep telling ourselves, no, I healed this is not, you know, I don't need to face this again, then you're ineffectively burying and bottling that stuff inside you, and it's going to bubble, and it's going to make your body respond in physical symptoms, whether that be whichever chakra that is. But it's my heart that has the biggest, I suppose, the biggest core wound. And that's why I keep getting shoulder pains. And that's why I keep pulling muscles in my higher heart, say, like in my back. This has nothing to do with, like, as I said, I wasn't moving this morning and that muscle spasmed and pulled. Do you know, like, that's proof that as I asked, like, during my meditation, I was sitting here like this and asking my meditation to break down the walls of my heart, and all of a sudden I could feel it. It's like I could see it fucking snapping, the muscle right there. And that's my higher heart. And like, you know, already it's less painful than this one was a few weeks ago. This one lasted for nearly 2 weeks until I finally, or well, it was over a week before I started doing the inner healing. But like, this is better because I realized the cause of it, and because I'm doing this video. But I have stuff to face now around the trauma I went through last year. And I do have to reface that again, because I'm obviously upset. I can't keep blaming external things for me being upset. I was tearful this morning because of what went on. I'm like, oh, this is a year now, I should be over it. No, I'm obviously needing to fucking face it again to release it completely. So when a wound resurfaces, when something comes back up and you're like, no, I faced this before, or I'm not dealing with this. Oh, that's another one. I'm not dealing with this right now. Do you know, this is avoidance, and this will lead to physical symptoms. Your chakras will become out of alignment if you don't listen to what's going on within yourself. And if you keep bottling up and burying those wounds, if you don't face those wounds, your body is going to react in some way, shape or form. It is going to react. And the more you bottle, the more it'll come out in explosions. And I remember years ago, like when I still drank and it was my late teens, say, I used to bottle everything up. Like in my early teens, I used to talk to my friends all the time. But my late teens, I used to stop talking as much. And once a month, and it was like it would happen like clockwork. I would drink every weekend. I would drink way too much every weekend. I had no stop button. But once a month, because of bottling, I would end up having a session of drink and exploding. I would end up shouting with all my friends, fighting with all my friends, crying out just uncontrollably, getting angry and just having these mad episodes through alcohol. Once a month it happened. It was like, because of all the bottling I was doing, it came out in an explosion. Now, because I don't drink or anything like that now, it comes out in triggers for me, where I'll have days where I'm grumpy and I'm tired and I'm snapping at my poor dogs and they don't deserve that at all. Or it'll come out with body pains for me. But mainly tiredness and triggers for me. But like when it comes to my shoulders and stuff, that is obviously my higher heart. Do you know, I like, actually, to be honest with you, like the last week I was quite triggered in the evenings and I wasn't dealing with it. That was me bottling things up and burying things again. Because, you know, normally when I get a trigger, I'll sit down and I'll ask myself, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? And I had triggers last week, and it took me 3 days to sit down with the triggers to figure out what was going on, and I understood what was going on. But now I'm actually, like, this is only coming to me now, that those triggers were to do with my career, but deep down they're to do with my heart. They are, because everything boils down to that. The more love we have inside ourselves, the more open and receptive we are to love, the more everything flows for us. So that can be career, and it doesn't have to be relationships, but it's about community, it's about career, it's about life flowing more easily for you. So the more we're open in our hearts and the more we live in love, the more life does get easier and the more life flows just smoothly for us. Do you know, and I'm kind of connecting all, like, I did that a few weeks ago as well. I connected my career and money blocks to my heart blocks, but I wasn't facing my core wounds. I wasn't looking within myself and asking myself what I need to heal. I realized what was wrong and where my blocks were, but I was still in avoidance of facing the truth. And now and it's only literally this morning, because of my muscle pulling for, you know, as I asked for my walls to be pulled down, my higher heart is telling me I have to stop avoiding and I actually have to face these wounds. Do you know, I'm all well and good saying I have heart blocks and I have this and I have that and I have the other. That's fine, you can say that, but how, like, you have to figure out where they came from. You have to figure out why they're there. You can't break down the walls unless you know what the walls are trying to protect or avoid even. Do you know what I mean? So we have to face those wounds. We have to face those traumas. We have to start doing the hard work. And it is hard. Like, you know, I'm stronger than I have been in such a long time, but I still avoid. We all avoid the pain. No one wants to feel pain. But when we go through the healing, when we overcome these triggers, when we face what's buried within us, life flows easier. So we might have to go through a little bit of pain to face those demons, to face those pains, to face those traumas, to face those hurts. But what's at the other side is beautiful. What is the quote I love? The walk to the top of the mountain might be hard or might be a struggle, but the view from the top is beautiful. And that's it, like, you know, it does take hard work to get there, but the reward will be so worthwhile. And I know that myself. Do you know, I know that when I live in love, everything flows for me. And like, manifestation happens so quickly. Everything happens it's like magic. It's like magic. When we live in love, life becomes magical and life becomes so much easier and life flows and all that abundance and all that just comes into your life so much quicker. There's less fear, there's less hate, there's less stagnancy. Do you know? And life becomes more clearer when you live in love. And now obviously I have some core wounds to face today and I have to resurface all those things again. And that's going to be hard, but I'm going to do it because I know at the end of it, it's going to be beautiful. So yeah, like, you know, that's the thing. So be aware of any pains you have. Be aware of any blockages you have around your heart or any of your chakras. But any physical symptoms can usually be healed internally. But with your heart, it's not just your chest. It can be your shoulders, shoulder blades, your upper back, any kind of pain around here, even neck pain. And like, it's related because when you turn your neck, it goes down to your shoulder blade. That's the thing. Like, you know, especially when I pull shoulder blade muscles, it's hard for me to turn my head and it's hard for me to move my hands and arms as well. But I get through it. And once I heal internally, I think, you know, this will go away as quick as it can. Because it's breaking down the walls around here. It is. And as I said, it's proof. I was sitting here completely still, asked in my meditation to break down my walls, and then my muscle popped or snapped from not moving. So it obviously is proof. The universe is trying to tell me I have to stop avoiding. I knew I had blocks, but I was avoiding breaking these walls down. So and it's constant. Like, you know, I'll go through breakthroughs and I'll realize this, and then it become easier. But I've still been avoiding the blocks. I've still been avoiding the pain. So I need to face that, and we all do. And it is so much easier in the long run when we don't bottle it up, because it does come out with explosions. It comes out with anger. It comes out with just triggers, and it's nasty. And I don't like shouting at the girls. I hate shouting at my little babies. Do you know what I mean? And they don't deserve that. Like, do you know? And I know I've been ratty a bit lately, and I have to face it. I have to start facing it again. So yeah, just be aware of any pains you have in your body, any triggers you get, any anger or upset that you get. There is obviously an internal wound that you're not facing or that you're afraid to face. And remember, if there's any back pain or upper back pain or chest pain or anything, as I said, I'm not a doctor or anything, but a lot of the time, for me anyway, it's my heart chakra. And any physical ailments I get these days is usually my chakras. So just keep an eye on yourself, and just don't be afraid of the healing. It's hard to face that pain, it really is. But the light at the end of the tunnel gets brighter and brighter and brighter every time you face an issue or it resurfaces for you to heal again. Because you're getting stronger every time. Every time you do face it, you get stronger and you get more capable of facing it the next time. Just try not to be afraid of it. Do you know, I'm talking to myself here as well. Do you know, we have to face the trauma for life to run smoother for us. The avoidance will get us nowhere. So thank you so much for listening today. And if you need help in your journey, please ring me for a discovery call today, and I will help you uncover the blocks around your heart. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.